Hey everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Steven Splains, the part of the Sign Your Name project in which we talk about the things that are going on in the world. And, you know, we might as well start with something relatively simple that doesn't have any long-term ramifications, and that is the crisis in Crimea. So here is our lovely picture of the Ukraine. This chalk stinks. There's the Ukraine. Let's get this little piece of chalk. And here's Crimea. Crimea is the dingleberry of Ukraine. And next to that is this big country. The elephant in the room, which is Russia. Now, what does Russia have to do with anything? Well, for starters, Russia is big. And second of all, they have a shirtless president called Vladimir Putin, who I think thinks it's 1986. I'm just trying to create the Soviet Union again. Anyway, so what happened in Ukraine was this. We had this president, his name was Yuri Yanukovych, or something like that. And there he is, he's smiling, he's got a nose, look at that. And he was the president, and he was backed by Vladimir Putin, who is this, he has a little hair there, nose, and a mouth. And he's happy too, because he likes having power. So this president is backed by the Ukraine, and then there's these people here who are like, hey, wait a tick. We don't like being kind of sort of still Russian. We want to be European. So they rose up, and they're like, no, we want to be part of the European Union. President Yuri Yanukovych, or whatever his name is, has stated, no. And Russia said, good job. Because, I mean, you're losing Ukraine. Who doesn't want, according to the Seinfeld episode, Ukraine is strong. And that's good. Well, these people were not too happy with that answer, and so they started doing protests. And they said, hey, well, if you're not going to let us be part of the European Union, you can just get out. And he said, no. And Russia said, allegedly, Russia said, oh, just go ahead and shoot him. And he said, no. He kept saying no. He likes no a lot. And so he said, we're going to compromise. And the first thing they compromised was he needs to get out. So he's gone. He's over here in Russia. And a new government has formed in the Ukraine, which is more pro-Western, pro-European. Well, there's a little part of the Ukraine called Crimea. It looks like this, or it doesn't. I don't know. I think that's what it looks like. Anywho, Crimea is majority Russian. They claim to be more Russian than not. And there's also the head of the Russian Black Sea Fleet is based in Crimea, because Ukraine said, hey, come on, you can have this bit of land for 40 years, or as long as you need it. We'll just keep bumping it up. Well, what happened was when the Ukraine became more pro-Western, pro-European, Crimea felt a little concerned, and Russia decided, here's an opportunity. So, again, allegedly, they're not claiming this, they sent in 20,000 troops. They said they weren't really Russian troops. They were more Crimean self-defense forces. Basically, a spontaneous uprising of Crimeans who wanted to keep Crimea Crimean. They totally weren't shipped in from Russia, and Russia had nothing to do with it. That's why there's no Russian insignias on their outfits, even though they're totally Russian. So, this past week, something interesting happened. Crimea decided that they were going to vote to either A, stay in the Ukraine, or B, become an autonomous republic. So, they voted, and 94.2% of Crimeans said, we are our own country. Yay! So we have a new country. And we will have a new country for precisely a couple days. Because Russia has now voted and said, well, maybe we're going to annex you. And Crimea says, okay. So the thing is, on Friday, there's supposed to be a vote, and it might have already happened by the time this is posted, it might not have, that says that Crimea is going to be the newest part of Russia, the newest province of Russia. Well, there are some things that come with that. The Ukraine, the country that currently owns Crimea, has stated that the vote that said they were independent was not appropriate. And they are backed by the US and the European Union. And Russia has said, shut your mouth. They are an independent country, and they're totally gonna be. And if they just happen to decide to join Russia, that's okay too. So that's the big thing, is like whether or not this vote of this tiny little thing is appropriate. And so Russia says yes, the US and the European Union says no. There's a lot of ballyhoo, a lot of fireworks going on, a lot of rhetoric, and a lot of people are afraid that it's going to come to fisticuffs, if you will, or maybe some shirtless posing, since that's what Vladimir Putin is, or Pooty Poot, as he likes to be called, is known for. So that's the Ukrainian crisis in a nutshell. Yeah. Thanks for joining me. Thanks. And next week, we're going to talk about something else. I don't know what. Hopefully the world won't explode by then. But the rate we're going to do a pretty bang-up job of getting it too.